Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to FaceTime with Todd Wharton. It's a beautiful Thursday night here in the studio on the course outside New York City. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are starting to enjoy this beautiful weather, dining outside. I actually took advantage today and I went over to one of my favorite bagel places here in Astoria and just enjoyed the day air, and it was just a beautiful day, and saw a lot of great people, and I'm starting to see some sundresses coming out. So putting a shout out to the ladies for the sundresses. So I'm appreciating you guys for that, and made my breakfast taste even better just seeing all that. But let's get into some stuff right now. So first of all, as I always do, I would like to give some love to my supporter, and my supporter is Believe in You. Believe in You is a foundation founded by Colette V. Smith. Colette is the first African American female football coach of the NFL. This organization, Believe in You, pretty much means that no matter what, at the end of the day, just really look at yourself, love yourself, and anything is possible if you believe in you, right? So definitely check her out. You can go to believeinu.inc.com and look at everything she's doing. She's a public speaker, and she does a lot of great things for not only inspirational things for women in sports, but in everybody in general. Because at the end of the day, we all came from somewhere, and we all have the opportunity to go forward, to go somewhere as well. In the meantime, I got a great guest coming up tonight. He's been a friend of mine for probably the past 10 years. I would consider him a brother, family, because his cousin is family of mine, and a couple of his other friends. We just had Rock This Monster on, so I'm honored to have this guy on. But check out this clip right now. As far as I can see, I had to plead the God's given to me. The best I can know in this life for me. Sacrifices in the love, losses, all bosses, rubber and brick. And though it's states, I still got it to me. If this is for me, all the decisions, good in the bad intentions will lead me to where I'm posing to be. It's pain that I see, the pain, some of my choices can bring. I only hope. Yes, and that is Mike Handz from the legendary Boot Camp Click, but also signed to Death Squad. And I'm glad to have him back, man. It's been a long time since I see you. Mike, how you doing, bro?
I'm all right, fella. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you, and now I can hear you. I can hear you, and I can see you. How you doing, man? I wish I didn't see you. I don't like having good-looking guys in my show, man, because it pisses me off. Because I'm trying to stay pretty, and then I got these good-looking brothers coming on the show, and it's like, man,
I'm just trying to.
I do
one foot in front of the other, trying not to trip. That's all. That's all. I see you, Doug Boogie. What up? Huh? G Snyder, what up?
Yes, we got a lot of people coming on. First of all, let's welcome everybody, our virtual audience, for being on the show today, because without you guys like me and Mike, we don't have shows, we don't have music, and we don't have fans. And it's all about you guys. So hello to the family. Mike, thank you for coming on, man. I was glad to get a hold of you. I know you're doing a lot right now, and I didn't know you did as much until I read your entire full resume, because really most people don't read somebody's full resume unless they're hiring them or they're going to put in. But I knew a lot about you before, but obviously the last time you were on my first show, I think it was 3-4 years ago. But since then, you've done some stuff. So the first thing I want to actually talk about is let's talk about your store that you opened up in Manhattan in 2018. That's a blessing, man. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so, I co-own a brand called Sneakerhead NYC with my partner, Pete. And, we do a lot of sportswear, custom stuff. We do a lot of stuff is to cater to the sneaker culture. And, really trying to make sure that we can collaborate the ever-growing billion-dollar trend of the sneaker culture with the outfit. So the sneakers were going crazy as standalones, but people just really didn't have what's the perfect fit to go with it, So my 20 background in fashion as designer, figured out how do I not abandon that and transfer it and translate it into what I'm doing now. So that's how we collaborated. A friend of mine, AR, put us together. We connected. We never kind of parted since then. And it went first. We were on the Soho side of Canal Street on Broadway at what's called Sneaker Flea, which was kind of like a flea market type of space in the sneaker culture.
Mhm.
And then from there, we ended up going under Broadway on Canal Street, and then we got into a space there. So it was interesting for a while. We had back then 6ix9ine came through. We had 50 Cent came through. Jadakiss came, not 50. Jadakiss came through. You know, a lot of the young artists coming up. You know, Casanova, all those other guys. They would pop through and do things with us. So it was a blessing for the time. But you know, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a real brick and mortar kind of person in this day and age. It's just, to me, an unnecessary overhead, unless you're like, if we were in the space of doing podcasts and events out of the space, then that might have made more sense to me. But if it was just about moving clothing, my core audience is overseas anyway. So it really didn't make
Yeah.
sense as much. I mean, don't get me wrong, the States take care of us, but overseas is really where we do our most numbers. Peace,
Yeah,
everybody.
that usually happens a lot. Yeah, that usually happens a lot with a lot of brands that overseas. They see a lot more influx in positive net costs. Not net costs, but just net in general of where your money is landing with downloads of music, merchandise. I don't know what that's about, but I do know when it comes to music, Europe is a huge fan of all types of music. And I know a lot of artists love to travel to Europe and perform.
I'll be honest,
And we're gonna,
absolutely.
we're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna do like a Quentin Tarantino type of thing in this interview. So you brought up, going overseas. I noticed that you performed in Paris,
Yep.
right? France, I believe, right? How did that go out there? How was the love that Paris showed you when you came out there?
Ironically enough, St. Ivan, I Am Terrible is in the room. That's who I went with. Actually, the last time I performed in Paris, I Am Terrible was releasing his last St. Ivan project. I believe it was The Inevitable. And he asked me if I would come and hold down the bill with him. So we went over there and, held each other down, shot some videos, laid some records for this new album as well as for his projects, and hooked up with our production team, Sis McGrath, over there, and we just did our thing. So like, it was so much love. I remember the night that we had the show, and we walked over to the venue to set up. We put everything in there, and I ain't gonna lie, the block looked a little desolate. We was like,
Yeah.
oh, might have, nothing gonna hurt your ego more than having your name on flyers and nobody outside. You know what I mean? So we was like, oh man, this might have been a doozy for us. But we was like, you know what? We're gonna grab something to eat while they set up, and then we're gonna come on back. So we went over to, there was actually this I believe it was an Ethiopian spot. Right,
Okay.
block. Food was incredible. We had just a great time, and we vibed, we ate. When we came back, quarter of the block was filled. We was like,
It
okay.
surprised you out of nowhere. It must have been the food, Mike. It must have been the food.
That was a good choice of food, right? And
Yeah.
Ivan gave it a great set. I came in closed with a strong set. The people responded well. The room was filled with energy. It was just a good trip, man. Like from the stage to radio to sightseeing videos, like being able to shoot a vid that you're gonna see drop for this new album, and looking at the Eiffel Tower right over your shoulders was everything. You know what I mean?
Classic moment. It's
Yeah,
like a movie moment,
yeah,
right?
great. It was great.
It's like one of those scenes where it's like you're all depressed, nobody's showing up. You get something to eat, people are cheering you up. You walk back, the place is packed. You're staring at the Eiffel Tower, and it's kind of like God saying, like, "It's your time, son." And
Um,
you're like, "I'm
I
about to rock it."
said, but we heard him. Like he said something. Sometimes you God, it ain't for you to understand. It just gotta respect it was said. And
Exactly.
I took it for what it was, and we held on to it. So it was a great time. We can't wait to get back. We were supposed to go back in 2020, but clearly we know why that derailed. I'll
Yeah.
talk about it and give COVID any more light. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do any more COVID commercials, but it derailed things a little bit. And we're geared up. Like I said, I have this new album dropping. I got a lot of love for Paris. I dropped, this will be my second Paris-based project. The first and only mural. Well, no, it's not the only. I've had three, but the first mural that I ever had, and second, hell, and third was all in Paris. So,
Yeah.
you know, I have a special place in my heart for Paris. Salute my whole Paris
Well,
team: Sis McGrath, Kyle,
right.
Whip. You know, Alter Beats. Like my whole team's over there.
Well, speaking of Paris, and we'll get a flow this side of thing where you have a new video coming out, and you were dropping an album where apparently the majority of the album was done, not if, in Paris, correct? And you
Well,
also shot a couple of videos out there.
Sis McGrath produced the entire project in Paris. We got to record a couple songs while we were there. One of the videos, Aventador, we actually shot part in Paris, and the performance scenes we shot here in Brooklyn. But yeah, like that whole project is actually Paris based. So
That's great.
yeah.
That's great. So you did you get to work with some Paris like studio like not studios but producers and everything else to get their feel
Well,
on how they see hip hop as well?
Undercover of Sis McGrath produced the entire project from start to finish. So he did
Oh
every
wow.
track on the album.
That's incredible. Isn't it great just to build great relationships all around the world?
He did the cuts, the scratches, he did the mixes, everything himself.
That's incredible.
Even
Now,
the
speaking of
artwork,
overseas, always, what was that?
even the artwork was a collaboration between a cat named Slav in South, I believe the South of France, or he was in Paris, I believe South of France, but he's over there. He did the layout, and then the illustration on the cover art was done by Confused Art out of Germany. So it was a collaboration.
Right. And I know you have a lot of respect for art because you yourself is a graphic designer,
I
correct?
I am for 20 years I've done graphics. For 25 I did fashion. So I mean,
Yeah.
shout out Baby Doll. I see she just jumped in the room. She actually went to fashion with me. So, you know,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we
I
got
see that.
50 Shades. I see you too. Yeah, we've been in art as long as we can remember.
Yeah, I love doing art. And guys, if you log in now, I'm chopping it up with Mike Handz, Def Squad artist. You can definitely follow him on Instagram at MICHADZ on Instagram. Follow me, Todd Wharton Official. I interview celebs 5 days a week. Now we're still overseas right now. Now I interviewed Rock This Monster last week, who is such a great guy. I can never stop smiling when I'm around. He's such a good dude. And you guys got to perform together in Chile,
Here,
correct?
that's the beast called. And
Okay.
we went on the Monster Nation tour. So Monster Nation at the core is, when it comes to the tour as it stands, is Rock Ness Monster, and he has Bo Black and myself on the road with him. And yeah, that's what we've been doing. Chaos, I see you, my guy. Yeah, like it's been interesting. You know, it's been really interesting. Like to see Rock work is just,
Hmm.
you know, we performed together on your show last go round, but just to see Rock
Yeah.
work is so animated, just as animated as he was when you fell in love with Helter Skelter and the whole boot camp movement. So to be a part of that now, to be somebody that used to carry that music in his book bag with his pen and his rap book to try to learn how to get into this, and then now you're a part of the collective and moving around with the team is
Hmm.
everything. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my guy. He's not only the homie, he's also like a mentor as well. So
Yeah, and by the way, I want to thank you for bringing up where you guys performed on my first show. The reason why I'm thanking you, you guys performed in stadium. When I started this show, you came on the second show ever that I started, and I think I had like what 15 people just sitting around, and you guys performed. And I want to let people know out there that's a lot of love you guys gave me, and I'll always appreciate you for that. But what I want to let people know the reason why it happened is me and you built a relationship over the years.
that's right.
And I think, and that's the reason why we have this mutual respect. And I want people to understand that if you guys want to really work and collaborate with people and gain their trust, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes years. And if you didn't know me or Rockness didn't know me, I wouldn't have had you on in my second show because you'd be like, I don't know this dude and nobody's going to be there. So I'm always going to show you love for that. And I appreciate you for that. And I always said, hey, as I'm getting bigger, I'm bringing you back on. And now, even though it's online, it's crazy what's happening right now with all the collaborations and the talent that's coming my way. So I thank you. Yeah, I
Well,
do appreciate you for that.
I appreciate you, and to take it even further back, I remember the first time I ever touched your stage. Um, you were doing your networking events, and it was at a venue called Taj, and Mr. Cheeks, and I believe it was Sid Nino, brought me out on one of his sets to do a song
Mhm.
at one of your events. So I remember that. That was the first time I even seen what you were doing, and I thought that was creative back then. So that's when we had, kind of crossed paths and exchanged cards and figured out what it was going to look like. And here we are now.
That's right, and I think you had Big Leto with you, and Jace for Real performed as well.
Right.
And yeah, that was a fun night. I was trying to change up my mixers a little, putting some music on it. It was great that night, but unfortunately, they don't last all the time for some reason. I don't know why. People, I don't, you know what it is? I think as we get older, with me and you are starting to learn that people constantly want change in everything, every event. It's got to be change, always, always, always. And a mixer is about networking. It's about making business, making contacts. But now people don't really network. They want to go to an event where they can network, but there's like people flying from the ceiling, and there's hip hop artists, and there's dancers, and there's food, but nobody actually want. And it's like, hey, if you want all that, then you're not going to a networking event. So I tried to change it up. I tested it. It worked for a little bit, but it wasn't conducive of what I was looking to do. But I obviously excel from that since then. But yeah, that was a fun night, man. I really did. That was a great night.
Yeah. Look, Rocky, I see you. Delightful. I appreciate that. Salute. Um, it it was interesting because it was a collaboration. You had the red carpet going on, you had the stage going on, you had a wide range of artists. There was like a photo shoot happening somewhere. It was a lot happening in there, you know.
Yeah,
It was interesting. But when I seen it and what you were trying to do, and then when we spoke the first time, you kind of gave me the vision. That's when I kind of, all the way
yeah,
subscribed. Like once you gave me the vision, I'm like, wow, okay, that's innovative. Because if you remember, I was doing concerts back then as well. I was doing the Writers Block concert, and to
that's right.
see, what you were doing, I'm like, okay, I see where there's a lane for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and it could work. You know what stinks right now is, man, and even to bring up the COVID, I see a lot of people trying to do events right now, and I'm going to be very honest. Unless you can really bring in at least 80% to a venue, it's really not even worth it. And I'm trying to tell a lot of promoters that I get it. We're all sick of it. We all want to go out. I get it, right? But first of all, as a promoter, you're not going to make money. Let's just keep that 100 because nobody's going to just start going out and spending hundreds of dollars on tickets because right now, when we start booming up, people are going to want to start working again, getting their lives back in order, start putting money away for all the money that they lost spending. And music, I guarantee you in 2022, I know people hate hearing somebody say this, but this is reality. 2022 is when everything's going to be back to normal. And the reason why it's taking that long is because, people take the vaccine, they don't take the vaccine, right? People practice social distancing, some people don't. People don't wear masks, other people do. And it's like we keep going like this all the time. And what stinks is the music industry alone is being hit hard because nobody wants to perform not in front of any fans. And doing it online gets boring after a while.
Here's the thing.
So,
Not
you
to,
know?
I feel like the live show aspect definitely has taken a hit, but realistically, we were always socially distanced. When we were doing our come up shows, like our
Yeah.
quote unquote chitlin circuit shows. First of all, salute Sneakerhead NYC. You see, my partner just jumped in, so we talked about
Oh, yeah. Okay.
earlier, so he's in here now. Salute. My sis Geraldine, I see you. Like I said, G Snyder, my cousin's in the building, and then my partner from the Food Foundation, which we have to talk about. Remind me to put a pin in that. Jackie Loves it.
Yeah.
So
That's
we're
my
gonna get
girl. Of course.
AB Money, legendary AB Money from Riff. All right, rapping is fundamental. He's in the building too. Salute, Easy Mo B and AB Money. But it's like I have a mixed emotion about it. So once you get to a certain
Yeah.
level of music in certain venues, you're already socially distanced because there's already the press pit in the barricade in front of the stage.
Right.
So technically,
Sure.
we don't engage the the people unless we want to, which we normally want to. So all we would
Right.
really be is the opportunity to meet and greet and really connect. Because like the people I perform with, we like to connect with the crowd, right? We'll jump down in the crowd. We like to connect and touch the people. But
Yeah, you're entertainment.
yeah, so in the what I call our come up venues, which are our local clubs and things like that, I feel like as long as they give the press pit concept in front of the stage, you can still socially distance the artists from the people. It's just a matter of whether or not it makes sense to try to put a socially distanced venue together, because you can't sell as many tickets. You have a venue that holds 250, you can only put 125 in there. You know what I mean?
Not even right now. It's not even. Yeah.
So that means you can only put 115 in there because you got to leave room for staff and bar to move around. So
Right.
that's where it gets hard. So then it becomes this online fake thing. So you figure the solution would be to put you 75 people in the room, live stream it to the rest of the people, you know what I mean? Pay-per-view it so that way you can create a revenue scenario, and it needs to be sponsored by the venue, how SOBs have a live platform, and do it that way. But they'll get to that. You know what I mean? But what I will say is, I don't care. Hold on, take a minute. Salute DMX. You know what I mean? I had to make sure I put that out there. But, you know, just reality is, when this thing, when shows come back, it could be Tom and Jerry performing. There will not be an unpacked venue, only because
Now I'm excited.
care.
Yeah.
They just want to see something. They want to get back in the mix. They want to be out at something. And every venue with the big artists are not going to be able to hold the people.
Right.
So everyone is going to get a shot, just because they just not going home. So they're going to go somewhere. So the trick is, as an artist, is for you to make sure that you got something worth talking about and coming back to. But it's not that you're not going to get the shot. You're going to get the shot. You know, because every bill is going to work. It does not matter who's on it. Speaking of Chili, you mentioned Chili, my man Boda Jazz, which is the promoter that brought me and Rock to Chili, he just jumped in the room too. Salute. He also writes for 3 magazines around the world, and he now writes for Relevant Magazine here in the States with us. So definitely.
And that's something that you launched in, I think it's 2018, I believe you launched that magazine.
Validated, when I was with Validated, but I own Relevant Magazine now. I was partnered on Validated, which is still out there, and they still have Validated Radio. So, you know, check for that. It's still a great magazine. I'm just no longer associated with it. But Relevant Magazine, actually, the first issue drops at the end of April, the first 1,000 issues physical, and the online mag. So that's going to be awesome. We have General Steel for the cover. We just did our first set of ad association with Warner Brothers. So they just been sending us everything, and we'll just sell the L out from there. But so far, so good. It's an interactive magazine. You can use your cell phone with it. If you see something in the book you like, just go over the QR code and go straight to it, be it the clothing, the interviews, the artists, whatever. If you see it and it interests you, if it interests you in the book, there is a QR code to take you to more information. So it's a fully interactive magazine.
Right.
But yes, those are going to be awesome. I cannot wait till they open those up, because I know I'm going to feel like a rock star. Just because, like I said, even people that don't know me will be at my show just for the sake of being somewhere.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% on that, and that's why I like bringing this up a lot with different artists, not just music in general, because I always want to get feedback on what people think, right, and what their views are. And you're right, because my Elves Up Global Humanitarian Concert, which is now New York City's official concert, 3-day event, I was going to do the Red Carpet Celebrity Concert the third day, Central Park Summer Stage. I had the dates. But it looks like I'm going to have to cancel it and postpone it to 2022, because that's a stadium you have to have 100% capacity. Because if you have 50%, you'll be lucky if you sell 30% tickets.
That's right.
So, but I am still working on the Times Square show, because it's outdoors. I already got the permits and everything else. That we're going to do with independent artists with Reverb Nation. And that will be part of Humanitarian Awards. So I'm going to be working on that, but we'll have to figure out with the city and Times Square Alliance how we got to work out the social distancing. Is it still going to be there by September? And what are going to be the stakes that I have to go by in order to make this thing work? Because people don't really understand. You want to put a big show on, it's not just getting permits now. There's a medical factor involved. And if you don't meet those standards, they will shut you down in a heartbeat. Which is my agreement on that. And
That's
now
right.
now we're gonna swing back. Like I said, we're doing the Quentin Tarantino thing. We starting from the front, we're going to the back, hitting up the middle, going to the front. Now you are originally born and raised in the Brooklyn, because I see that backwards hat going on.
That's
How
right.
was the influence on the Brooklyn neighborhoods growing up have been a positive influence on you when it came to your music?
You said, how has it been a positive?
Yeah, well, your music, obviously born from Brooklyn, there's got to be a lot of things that you went through growing up that you took and turned into a positive aspect to create some of your music today.
I mean, at the end of the day, some people say you are what you eat. I'm definitely a product of my environment, but
Yeah,
I just don't think that, like, even the worst neighborhoods aren't all bad, right?
right,
So when people, there's a stigma, attached to the statement product of your environment. It's not always negative, right?
hmm
And even though I did all the negativity, and I'm definitely of the block. I was for the streets at one point. 23-year veteran Decepticon, the whole situation. But I think I only subscribe to the silver linings of it all. You know what I mean? So
hmm
as rough as it was, it all just gave me material. It all taught me human nature. I'm in an interview. Whatever you need, grab it. Yeah, I interviews and it gave me content. It taught me human nature, so I knew how to craft my metaphors because I knew who I was talking to and how to connect with people. I knew how to speak to my audience because, as they say, Brooklyn is everywhere, right? Or the Brooklyn mentality goes further. So as long as
yeah,
I can relate to a kid in Brooklyn, 9 times out of 10, I can relate to somebody everywhere. And I went with that method. And then I also, my area of Brooklyn taught me to be me because I knew what I wasn't.
right,
Once I embraced what I wasn't, it was easy to kind of deduce what I was. And at that point, I figured if I could just put me into the music, I could sell me. And I already mastered the brand. I know me. And that's
hmm
so yeah, of course, there's some sensationalism. You got to add a little bit of sci-fi, right? Like, don't nobody want movies with no special effects nowadays. You got to add some sci-fi,
no,
but it's
no more.
always based on a true story. It's always um framed in a true artwork. You know what I mean? And then yeah,
hmm
sometimes I might exaggerate a little bit. I might add a little, blend some colors and things of that nature. But you feed off of your environment. You feed off of your influences. You feed off of the things you lived and you seen. So yeah, that kid shot that kid. I might not have pulled the trigger, but I promise you, I had trauma from the shooting. So because of all of that, I was able to use every bit of it to create and craft the material. So from my clothes to my artwork, like even my fashion was always a uniform for my neighborhood. Like that was the concept. Like I looked at how the guys that were stylish and getting it in my neighborhood and the females that were stylish in my neighborhood were getting to it. And I'm like, okay, that's what gave me a sense of style. That let me know what style looked like. And then I
Right,
took the road. And then when I went to other neighborhoods and other cities and other countries, it taught me what I was looking for when I was looking into style. And then I took that and incorporated in what I was doing. And then from there, just ran with it. So yeah, I mean, I guess every bit of who I am is influenced by my neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like Brooklyn
yeah,
absolutely made me who I am all over the world.
hmm
And I've lived a lot of places. I've touched 5 of the continents on the planet, and I was Brooklyn everywhere I went. You know,
yeah. And
and,
I
and
like that. And they have that saying where you can go to Chile or Paris and you can get up on the mic and be like, "Yo, is Brooklyn in the house?" And it's almost guaranteed you'll have like two people.
it,
You could be in Alaska and somebody in Brooklyn be like, "Yeah, strange brew, baby."
absolutely. So that's kind of what I meant when I said they kind of say Brooklyn is everywhere. So I figured if I could just keep it Brooklyn, I could kind of relate anywhere I went. And then as I traveled, I got influences from other places, right? So my time in the South working with Walker's mother, Deb Annie, I was able to take in Atlanta. From the time I was in LA, Vegas, the Carolinas, um, VA, PA, Philly, like wherever I was at, Baltimore, I used to live in Cali at one point, in San Diego, Denver, Texas, like all the places I've been. And clearly I can't name them all, but I took something back with me every time. There's something I was able to bring and incorporate into who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Hell,
Yeah, and that's great though.
thing. Like I
What
try
was that
to,
last? You came in and out. Yeah, you came in and out. What was that?
I said I try to take from, like, even the people I meet, I take influence from. Something, no matter how big or small. It might be something they say that resonates with me, something they do. But whatever it is, like I'm a student of life, so I try to absorb everything I can.
Yeah, and that's usually how you learn. And I mean, I was raised, and I brought it up before in another show. My mother told me this cool theory, and I know other people use it. And she says, there's a two ears, one mouth theory. And when I'm a kid, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I was a fat kid, right? So all I wanted to hear was, where are the Oreos?
Mhm.
I didn't care about no two ears. I know I got two ears. I don't need all that. But she used to tell me that it's a very good lesson that I'm teaching you because when you're growing up, we all have things to say. But in a conversation, make sure you listen, even if you're not exactly into the conversation. Is because if you listen more and speak less,
You listen
you
twice.
can learn one thing, yeah, and take that into your repertoire and build from a life learned lesson.
Listen,
And
even the people I
100%.
even the people I compete with don't understand that I only beat them because of what they taught me.
Yeah,
Like I
I like that.
sure, when I see you in the building, Beezy, what up, my guy? My rap star family in the building. So yeah, like I try to learn from everybody, even when I have disagreements, even when I might not subscribe to your point or your platform or your view. That doesn't mean that I don't respect what you're saying. I'm learning something from it that
Mm.
I'll incorporate when I'm proving my point next time or something of the sort. So I don't have to always agree with the lessons that I learned, but I take a lesson from everything.
Yeah, and I love that you do that. And the other thing I love about you, bro, and you did it with me today, for some reason, people take constructive criticism as an insult, but it also depends on how somebody delivers it to somebody, right? And the promo I did today, I do promos every single day because it's very important that laughter is a part of our lives. And this show is a little different from most shows. And I put it together. It took me like 2 hours. I did it 2 in the morning, and it was dope. And I didn't realize I put C in artist, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
tired I was. And you hit me up, and you were very professional. You're like, "Yo, great promo. I see one little error," and I actually appreciated you for saying that because I got mad, but not at you, at
Mm-hmm.
me, because I'm a perfectionist. But I like when people like you see that and you approach me professional, like, hey, bro, you didn't help. Be like, yo, thank you. Because there are people out there when they approach, they don't do it right. They come out to you and be like, hey, idiot, you wrote this, blah, blah, blah. And then when people get the constructive criticism to them politely, they take it as an insult, which they should never do because that's part of what we're talking about right now. Learning is taking constructive criticism to make yourself better.
What I used to say is, if you're my friend, don't let me go to a club with a booger on my nose. Don't let me go to the club with a booger on my nose. So
I would never do that.
when I say that, I say it to say, if you see something, you part of my inner circle. Let me know before I go out here to the people I'm presenting myself to. If
Right.
I missed something I ain't see, you're supposed to tell me in the dugout before I get on the field. Don't wait till I
Right.
get on the field and screw the play up and then tell me what you noticed when we was in the dugout. And that's how I look
Yeah.
at the team. When I look at stuff my friends and my family do, I don't look at it to tear it down. I look at it to improve it. So,
Mm-hmm.
how can this, I know what you're going for. You're going for maximum impact. So if there's something that I see that may add to the impact or so on and so forth, then my job is like, why would I hoard that information?
That's
If it's
right.
going to, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because
And it's even
I
better you're a graphic designer, so you take that into detail.
think about it. I don't want to be friends with people that ain't great. So my job is to contribute to my friends being great.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot. Speaking of great, man, you've been doing a lot of great shows, and you actually had a chance to do something that I think a lot of artists wish they could have done. You got to perform on a Hell on Earth tour with Smith and Wesson, but also with Mobb Deep, which included Prodigy.
Yeah.
Um, that's obviously somebody that left us way too soon, way too young. How was the energy and the factor of performing with these amazing bands in a whole, being a part of that?
Well, first off, the first international shows I did was with Smith and Wesson. Smith and Wesson,
Mm,
Steve, Tech, Salute, still told me one day, if you can get there, you can work. That was it. Other words, the promoter ain't paid for a third rapper. We not paying for a third rapper, but if you can get there, you can work.
that's right. And I'm glad you said that. And the reason why I'm interrupting you, I'm going to say this right now. You just said something that artists need to hear. You can get there, you can work. Meaning, if you have an opportunity that somebody's giving you that could be excel your career, all right, be humble about it. Get your ass there because you don't know when something like that can come again. And I understand artists want to get paid all the time. Believe me, I work all the time. I get paid all the time. But if a guy, let's say Shaquille O'Neal, I'm just going to throw a name out. He's like, Todd, listen, we're not paying anybody else, but if you can get to my show, I can have you speak on civil rights on my stage. You really think I'm going to go and argue with him and ask him, well, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to show up? You're damn right I'm coming. I'm going to go work an extra 20 hours, whatever job I'm doing, to go get me a plane ticket. And I will say at the last Howard Johnson, I don't care if it's a Roach Motel, to get on that stage.
Todd,
And I agree with you.
you have no clue what I have done to show up. Most of the time by myself to far corners of this earth and country. I've done it on the bus. I've done it on the train. I've done it on a plane. One time I just ran into a friend I bumped into last year that was like, yo, remember when you went and did that show in Myrtle Beach? I'm like, yeah, I rode with him and his girlfriend to Virginia because that's as far as they was going. And I had a friend in Virginia that was going to the show. So they drove me to a gas station in Virginia. My friend came and met me, and I drove with him to South Carolina. Then when it's time to come home, he dropped me back at that gas station, and I had to coordinate my trip with when my friend and his wife was coming back to New York.
Wow.
So I basically
That's
hitchhiked
the whole way just to
but
get to where you need to go.
did my numbers and came on back. Then one tour I did with Smith and Wesson, I called it the Mega Bus Tour. So I did every date with them, but they had plane tickets and they had things of that nature. So I would have to leave directly after every show so I could meet them in the next city on the bus.
Yeah, so when they fly for an hour, you got to drive for 6.
And they go back to the hotel and sleep after the show. I'm giving them pounds as I head to a cab so I could go to the bus station to get on my bus, because if I don't leave by the 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock bus, I'm not going to get there by 8 o'clock before showtime. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's what had to happen to do it, but I wasn't going to miss the opportunity because nobody convenient was giving me that look. Nobody convenient was giving me that stage. I remember
Mm-hmm.
performed in Canada, still said if you could get there, you could work. I got me a bus ticket, jumped on the bus up to Canada, got detained at the border. They eventually let me in. I called them. They hadn't even left New York yet. Luckily, I had a friend or two up there, got a little Airbnb and held myself down. But it was crazy because Clarity, what up? It was crazy because what you mean y'all ain't leave? Oh yeah, I flight tonight. So I beat you to Canada to do your show? All right, I'm out here. I'm gonna just hang out. I went and set up my own radio. I'll be on this floor on the road with them and have my own radio schedule
Wow.
that I set myself. It had nothing to do with them. A couple times they popped out and held me down, which validated my interview, right? But I never needed anybody to drink the water for me. I just needed you to point me at it. Point me
I
at the
like
water.
it.
Oh, well around it. But I don't need you to drink. I don't, and then I'm always gonna pay it forward. What you need, artwork, what you need, management. When we were on the Hell on Earth tour, I was also the merch manager. So when I got off
Oh,
stage from
really?
open, so the way the show went, I took the stage first, Smith and Wesson. After Smith and Wesson, Mobb Deep, show done. So after I got off stage, I'd go to the car, get the merch, and go set the merch table up and sell merch for the rest of the show for Smith and Wesson. I didn't care. I didn't care. We need to sell the merch. This is how we paying for the run. You know what I mean? So let's get to it. You know what I mean? I'm here to do my part, whatever that is. I never wanted anybody to give me anything. I'm willing to work. When I performed at the Barclays Center with Fame, we went there just to go hang out and see the show. This is the Rough Riders reunion tour. We went to go see the show. We walked into one of we going around the dressing rooms, and we go to the Locks dressing room, and they see Fame. Styles hit up Fame like, yo, you want to do the record? Talking about Annie up. Fame like,
Yeah.
whatever. He there by himself. Ain't there. He like, whatever. Yeah, I'll do it. So, Styles went and set that up or whatever. I automatically went in the road manager mode. I'm like, what time he go on? Who he coming on after? Where the mic's gonna be at? Like, I'm setting Fame up. Like, that's what he gonna do. Then all right, we working now. Let's get to work. I didn't know that when it was time to go out, he was gonna tap me and say, "You not coming with me?"
Oh,
I
wow.
Annie up in front of a packed Barclays Center on the Rough Riders reunion tour. The big.
Your energy must have shot in the overdrive
I'm
when
like,
that happened.
I wouldn't have traded that moment for not one Mike Hand song in my catalog, period.
Facts.
That energy was so crazy, and to be part of that moment, you know what I mean? So, like, I never put my ego before my career. I never put my ego before my grind. I never put my ego before my success, ever. Like, I'm willing to get in the dirt still. And I'm talking about my name is on the marquee, and I'll still get in the dirt. I don't care. I've driven 28 hours and took 20 artists with me to South by Southwest in Austin. Rented 3 Sprinters and went for it. Several times. A3C, same setup, several times. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure it out when we get there. Let's just get there.
Yeah, you have
G&I,
that old school grind mentality. That's what you
it
have.
has to be that. It
That's
has
right.
to. If you ever listen to my music, I don't realize that my grind supersedes my talent, and I'm pretty fucking talented. But my grind is what my brand is.
That's
You
right.
understand? My brand is my grind. So that's what I sell. I go and every night I grind. Every single time I get on the stage, I approach a stage like nobody in this room knows who the hell I am. And I got to convince them I can do this. That's how I pronounce it every time. I don't care what country, what city, what state.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And guys, who's ever chiming in, again, I'm talking with Mike Handz. You can follow him on MICHANDZ at Instagram. You can follow me, Todd Wharton Official, on FaceTime with Todd Wharton. So, Mike, let's keep the energy going because what you're saying right now is inspirational. Let's talk about some other inspirational things right now. And I was going to bring it up, so thank you for bringing it up before. Jackie Love, Swiss Star, and Talia Nix appointed you COO of the Food Foundation. Please explain to everybody what Food Foundation is.
Well, the Food Foundation stands for Fueling Our Own Development. And it's a community-based organization that started off doing a lot more community work, but due to the pandemic kind of got in realizing the disparities in food and the food deserts throughout the city, that's where it became a find a need, fill a need kind of space. And Jackie went out and made all of the strategic partnerships that were necessary to acquire the food and product that we needed, from PPE to farm to family to food rescues at Whole Foods and Olive Garden and all of these wonderful places that got involved, Fresh Direct, and we just started hitting the streets. She rented a couple of trucks and we went for it. And we've been doing it from just before the pandemic really set in, went intense once the pandemic set in, and just did an activation earlier this week and last week.
Wow.
It's
Well,
still,
thank you for doing that.
she just called me and actually asked me to set up a campaign which kind of showcased the tonnage of food that we've let go, the man hours that our volunteers have put in, the strategic partnerships that we've done. And, you know, Toys for Tots, we just did like 3,000 toys. We partnered with the Brooklyn Museum and did our giveaway at the Brooklyn Museum. Salute Rowdy Rebel. He had just came home from prison from GS9 with, you know, Bobby Shmurda and that whole movement. And he came out right behind us. And not only did he come and participate, but he piggybacked and went and bought out a supermarket for his neighborhood later that day. So, you know, it's definitely a find a need, fill a need type of scenario. But the Food Foundation gave me, so I work for a company called Baltic Street AEH, which is an advocacy company during the day, which opened me up to the concept of doing more outside of myself and really getting in touch with the needs of other people and the realities of what some of the disparities are and the stigmas and things of that nature in the world. So when the Food Foundation opportunity came to the table, which actually started with me just being a music ambassador, they just reached out to me to perform at a couple of shows and help support the movement and help spread the word utilizing my platform. When I got there and realized what they were doing and realized that I had a skill set that could probably contribute a little bit more than a 15-minute rap set, that felt kind of superficial in light of what I could really contribute if it was needed, you know, and welcomed, that we went for it from there.
Wow. Well, thank you for you, to Jackie, and your partners for doing something like that.
Salute
Doing a self-attack.
out of the legwork too. Devon Everlasting that manages Young Dirty Bastard. He did a lot of the legwork with us, actually moving the truck and putting the back work into it. So salute Devon as well.
Yeah, and Young Dirty Bastard and Divine are great. I just had Young Dirty on last week, and he's such a really good guy, and I love his energy. We're going to keep it going. We have about 10 minutes left, so I wanted to touch on this subject as well. We spoke about it offline, and you have not hidden it. You made it very public, and you always have a method behind your madness. I know you did it because you let everybody know how you're doing, because there is a lot of people out there that do love you. And I saw it firsthand because when you did a charity event a few years back, you know, I showed up, I was with DJ Diamond the Artist, Kango Kid, Craig G. The place got packed, where you had to go outside, and it was all there for you because for the last years and years back, lifetime, you've had a chronic kidney disease that you've been dealing with, which eventually turned into an end-stage renal disease, and you went through dialysis. But through all this time, posting stuff online, making sure you're okay, you also have created an inspirational story, because all the down that you've been going through, and none of us wishes anybody to go through what you've been going through. You still there for your kids 100. You still kept it 100. You still got into the studio to make your music. You still toured. And no matter what downfalls came at you, you did the Michael Jordan bad boy. And you said, if that's the hurdle, I had to find a way to leap over it. And you have never stopped. How has your energy persevered and pushed through that? What is your inspiration to do that?
What's funny is, to be honest, I that hurdle scenario, I never felt like jumping the hurdles was exactly an option for me. I had more of a mentality that I pick hurdles up and I take them with me, because jumping them don't make problems go away. I grab hurdles, I take them, and I work on them on the run. You know what I mean? It was
Cheryl the Pearl, hello.
Yeah, it was never an option. It was never an option, man. Like, I felt like it was like adversity is all I knew anyway. There was always challenges. It just had different faces on it, right? Different names to it, different circumstances around them, but it was always challenges, you know? I remember when a Metro card was a challenge to rap. Like I got a whole studio session, I just can't get there. You know what I mean? Back when I had to get reel to reels, like I booked the studio, but I don't have enough money for the reel. So it was always that. So this was just one more challenge for me. And I had lived it already. My dad died of the same disease I have. So I already knew what to expect. So I was braced for impact that way, right? I just had to really cope with the reality that that I own this version. I was always a spectator, right? So this time I own the equation, and that was the hardest part, trying to wrap my head around. Gina, thank you. Like trying to wrap my head around that. But I always, with everything, it's about the moment of impact for me. It's impact, and all my emotion is wrapped around impact. Once I can deal with the impact, I can move past the emotion, and now I can then get into solution mode. I can get into execution mode. I can get into survival mode. I can get into make it happen mode. I can go into grind mode, as most people know me for. So once I owned it, and me posting and putting it out there was actually me making myself accountable to me about the reality of my situation, right? So I can't hide it now. You know how the streets is, you know how the world is. I didn't want nobody starting to lose all this weight and start speculating, thinking the ninja got me, or, I done laid with the wrong woman and something weird happened, or all the different things that people allow their imagination to run around with in the little rumor mill. So I figured, let me just give it to them, so that way there's no room to speculate about anything, right? So, once I put it out there, though, it was really for a selfish reason. Like I said, it was so that I could hold myself accountable and I could say it out loud, right? But then, thank you, Miss Jana, aka Mrs. Rogers, aka my wife, aka the woman that gave her kidney up so that I could be here. She just signed on. So, and she gave me my children, who in turn gave me my grandchildren. So she's in the building. So, like,
wonderful.
No, literally, I can hear her phone from the other room. But it's like, in this particular case, I don't know. People started getting in the inbox, and all of a sudden people started to disclose stuff. Yo, I'm about to start dialysis, and I didn't know who to tell. I didn't know how to speak about it. Yo, I just started dialysis a month ago. I haven't told anybody, not even my family. Yo, they just told me that my kidneys are starting to fail. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to expect. And there's hundreds of these that started just coming in. At that point, I realized, listen, I'm only about 3 months ahead of you, but whatever I learn, I'm gonna tell you. Which is when I started, as I learned new information, I started posting new information. And then I took it a step further and I started posting it in real time. Like, while the doctors are still putting needles in my arm, or while they're still showing me and explaining it to me, I'm explaining it to you. I would literally, and it would help me learn about my situation, because I would literally damn near interview the doctor so that I had a full understanding of what he's telling me, because I know I have to translate it and I have to write it. I have to type it up as soon as he finished telling me, or shoot it as soon as, we've had cameras hidden in in assessments and things like that. Just so that I could catch the footage of the situation that may not have been green lit if I asked. But for the sake of the fact that these people are going to be walking this path after me, and had somebody been able to give me a peek behind the curtain before I walked through, I would have appreciated it. So I just tried to create and extend that situation. And before you knew it, I realized it was bigger than me. Like, it wasn't me at that point. And it helped me take my mind off of my situation. It also let me know that I have to get through it, because how am I telling them they can if I don't?
Right.
So again, it held me accountable, and it gave me a third, because I had enough inspiration just out of my family to keep going. But it gave me another reason to continue to prove this thing out. Just like my career. Like, part of the reason, I don't talk about this often, but part of the reason why I really, really grind as hard as I do to make this music thing do something is because
Mm-hmm.
my kids have watched me work at this my whole life. Well, their whole lives, right? They've watched me work, and all they've ever heard me preach was hard work pays off.
Right.
If I can't make this pay off, then what I'm supposed to tell them? Are they supposed
Right.
to give up on their dreams now because hard work don't actually pay off?
Mm-hmm.
So if I can't make it pay off, the least I can do is let the hard work portion never end. So that way they can't prove that it don't pay off because I died working hard. So you still can't see it not pay off. So you can't prove it. So you still forced to believe that hard work pays off. So it's kind of the same thing. Like if I'm telling you, you got to keep your head in the game, you got to stay positive, you got to stay focused, then that's what I have to be. I have to live that in order to sell that narrative. So it helped me to hold myself accountable and keep myself, you know, to keep myself in play. And then here I
Well,
am
Mike,
6 months later, 7 months later, post transplant.
and congratulations on that. And Mike, thank you for sharing that story. This entire interview, brother, has been really inspirational to me.
I appreciate you.
Um, yeah, of course. I mean, you know, I public speak a lot, but when I hear somebody like you speak, I don't even want to interrupt you. I just want to keep listening.
I appreciate
And
that.
I appreciate you for that. Yeah, we didn't get into a lot of other stuff because you have such a great story, Def Squad, Eric Sermon, the whole nine. I definitely want to bring you back. The show's getting bigger. I'm talking about getting a studio, which is even bigger, which is dope.
Oh,
Um, but you know, you have such a great career now and ahead of you. Obviously, you have a beautiful family. You have so many great fans out here that really appreciate you. And I saw it firsthand that night at your charity event. And more people need to be around people like you because it will make this world a much better place. The more people like you are out there. Really, really, I'm telling you that to heart. Um, so, guys, if you don't know, please follow this man. Again, I said it a number of times. Follow him on Instagram, Mike Handz with a Z on Instagram. You can also go to MikeHandz.com. That's his regular website. All the information is there. Mike, I appreciate you being on tonight, man. As
thank
always,
you. That was
great interview.
like you
Yeah,
hands on everything. Salute everybody in the room that's showing love. I see each and every one of you guys. Jammertown, I see you. Salute. Like just this is what it's about, connecting with the people. You know what I mean? Scorpio, Phoenix, I see you. Salute. Like that's what it's about, just connecting with the people and trying to matter. And when I say matter, it's not from a narcissistic standpoint. It's trying to matter, like make impact. Like why did it matter that they met you, or why does it matter that you've crossed paths? So be impactful, you know what I mean, and whatever it is you're doing. And then once you figure out what that impact's going to be, just be that, like make that your platform, and not just in business but as a person. You know what I mean? Make that your platform, and then from there the rest of it is just a downhill, ride. So just catch your wave and ride it.
beautiful. And we're definitely going to end right on that point because I love that point you just said. Guys, please tune in tomorrow night. We have R&B soul artist from Growing Up Hip Hop and the daughter of the legendary Kid Capri, Vina Love, is going to be on here tomorrow night. We got a great guest count next week. We'll announce it tomorrow night. But as I always say, guys, please wear your mask, practice social distancing. We're all in this together, okay? Disease doesn't care what kind of nationality, gender, age, it don't matter. At the end of the day, it's us that matters. We need to take care of each other. All
All
right. So, Mike, thank you again. Guys, be safe as always. As I say at the end of every show, if you're not living a passionate life, then whose life are you living? Guys, have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Mike.